Hey guys, Bill McMillan here with NDWX.com. Just wanted to take a look at a couple of different updated seasonal forecast models as we get set to rumble into the winter. Officially, we're in meteorological winter now that we're at December 1st, hard to believe. Latest SST configuration, or the sea surface temperature profiles here, haven't really changed much from what we've been talking about over the past couple of months. We have our strong El Nino in place, though much different from 97, 98, much more spread out versus being tucked in here with the warmest anomalies, and the overall Pacific is much warmer as a whole than 97, 98 was, with the warmth in the central and northern Pacific. The North Atlantic oscillation, at least this is a look that would promote potentially a negative NAO as we get deeper and deeper into the winter months, so something that we'll continue to keep a close eye on with these cooler anomalies over the warmth. And as we go in and take a look at the latest forecast models, this is for January. The CFSV2 remains very consistent on a warm month, actually significantly warm month to kick off 2016. And while, just based on what we see with the overall state of the Nino and the Pacific as a whole, it's hard for me personally to buy something that is this warm for January, but you can't discard it either based on the way the CFSV2 has been performing over the past couple of months. It did very, very well in pegging the warm November that we had and was consistent on that as well. So something that we have to at least continue to keep an eye on based on its recent accuracy pegging that warm November. The latest seasonal Canadian is in as well, and suggest a much different look for January with a much colder overall a much colder look, really coast to coast, but particularly across the south central. And this is interesting as well. To the Canadians' credit, it has been a model that has been consistent on it getting colder and colder the deeper we go into winter, and that is where we're basing our forecast idea on, the fact that we do think we're getting off to a slow start to the winter of 2015-2016, as the next couple, potentially 3 weeks, would suggest. But as we've been talking, there is the opportunity, I think, for more active, potentially colder times once we get past mid-month. I also want to go back to what the European Weekly suggested about a month ago, and that was a cold open and a stormy open to December, which obviously is not going to be the case. So the European weeklies have been struggling with that. There's just so much going on right now, and some conflicting signals as well. Big fight going on right now in terms of the overall pattern. But as we continue to evolve into mid and late December, it's going to be fun, yet very, very challenging, watching things unfold, and we'll see if we can get into a pattern that could be a little bit more conducive for potentially more cold and wintry conditions going into Christmas. Something at least that we're on the playing field for. We'll see if that continues to evolve that way. This is the latest JAMS tech, and we like this idea. This is a little different than what we showed you with the CFSV2 and the Canadian, but this is for the meteorological winter as a whole, December, January, February, as far as temperatures. And it's hard to argue with this. I like this overall look with the warmth across the northern tier relative to averages, and the cold centered across the south central and extending into the Ohio Valley and midsection to some extent as well. All in all, not a big difference from what we've been showing. Taking a look at our teleconnections, hard to get a signal one way or another with this, though it is encouraging if you're a wintry lover that the NAO, or the North Atlantic Oscillation, obviously begins to trend more neutral as opposed to significantly positive as of current. The Arctic Oscillation is kind of similar, though, a rather neutral look out there at mid and late month, though we may trend a little bit more negative towards the end of the month. We'll keep an eye on that. That could make for interesting times. Positive values right now. The PNA actually goes opposite of what we want to see. Right as the AO goes negative, the PNA goes negative as well. All in all, though, it's a neutral look with our teleconnections, so we can't get a good tip of the hat, so to speak, with what we can expect based on those values. The GFS ensembles continue to show a pattern, and let me see if I can back this up real quick, that we go from this weekend into early next week with this significant ridging. It's going to be very, very nice across these parts, considering the time of the year this weekend. Get out there and take advantage. But as we go into mid-month, as we've been talking about, the pattern flips here a bit. The heights continue to progress further and further north, and we'll keep an eye on this puppy here, see if we can get into a bit of a active or a more active storm track with potentially some colder air getting involved as well after mid-month. That's the way we see things right now. Primary driver of that would be this SOI. Continues to tank. Now, well below the base state after what was a significant climb month over month. This is a kind of a shot to the arm, so to speak, into the atmosphere that can make for some more active times locally across the lower 48, though it's usually a bit of a lag. So that's the reason we're focusing in more on mid and late December for potentially a more active storm track and more, if we're going to tap into some cold air. Though there's not going to be a tremendous amount of cold air available to tap into for the month as a whole. You don't have to have it brutally cold to get snow this time of the year. Just cold enough with the right storm track can certainly lay that snowpack down, and then you get a feedback situation as you go deeper into the winter as well, where it kind of just all feeds back on itself and it gets colder and colder based on that active storm track. So that's something we're going to continue to monitor. Guys, hopefully that has been a bit useful to you this evening. Make it a wonderful evening out there. We'll talk with you soon on NDWX.com.